Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got 10 games to choose from in our player props tonight, so you know we're feeling pretty good about those picks where we've been hitting at a ridiculously high rate for the last 4 nights or so. Want to make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also got a couple game videos up for you tonight with some fun matchups to look at for sure. Also head to thelines.com. That's where you can get all the great written content. Nate's starting to put some of those picks up there on thelines.com for you that we're talking about in these player props as well. And you can use that odds finder tool we're using every morning. Make sure you're getting the best odds, juice, lines, etc. available to you guys from those U.S. sports books. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first NBA player prop for tonight.
Yeah, we break down Nuggets Mavs, and we like the over. We like the Nuggets at home. That means we like the Joker to orchestrate everything at home. Just utterly ridiculous, laughing to myself going through his home game log. He has a triple-double in 7 straight, 9 of his last 10, and it's something like 15 of his last 20 at home, a triple-double, which is like even money at most sites, plus 110 at FanDuel. I don't hate taking that. I mean, it's just like the law of averages shows that you would be making a lot of money if you bet that every single night. He's at home. That's the key here. And I know he's been a little quiet against Dallas in the last couple, actually missed 2 against them earlier this season. Still, I mean, he's averaging 13 boards, 7 assists overall in his last 5 against Dallas, 9 assists per game when he's been at home. So again, it's just the overall offensive efficiency that ramps up. I'm just looking at the assists and rebounds, actually, not the scoring from Joker. Although if Aaron Gordon's out, if Jamal Murray's out, there's a notable rise in points per game. If Aaron Gordon's out, there's a notable rise in rebounds per game for the Joker. He averages 14 boards per game without Gordon this year. So I'd feel pretty good about 22.5 assist rebounds, which is even money at FanDuel. That's something he's, again, topped in 16 of 20 home games going back here. Going back to that time, he came up short against Dallas with the 1988 line. But, now we're talking about in the game video, the Kairuka Mavericks, a lot more offense, a little more pace, and a really bad rebounding team. We don't know if Wood is going to play. Kleba remains out. There's just Dwight Powell being basically the only big man standing to try to match the Nuggets on the boards. So Joker, even if he has below his standards for assists, like 7 or 8 maybe, I still think he's going to get over 12.5 boards here. So I think the odds are best here just to take the peripherals and assume he's going to keep doing what he's been doing at home.
Yeah, we're a little bit scared of the assists. I mean, he's the 6 assists a game for him in the last 4 versus Dallas. 10.5. It's not a lot for Joker. And if Jamal Murray doesn't play, it's a better stat. I think the rebounds are fair either way, because I think if Aaron Gordon plays, 12.5 rebounds plus or minus 105 on DraftKings. So basically the same odds for him to get the assists and the rebounds. And we know he's gotten the 14 rebounds a game against this team in his last 4, which is going to continue to be the case because, as we talked about in the game video, the Mavs are just going to continue to just, vomit up rebounds to their opponent at a ridiculous rate like they have been and probably will be, especially if Christian Wood doesn't play. So I just like him to get a ton of rebounds tonight, no matter what. And then if you do see what happens with Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray and are able to get a bet in after those guys are officially announced, if they are right before the tip, then you might make a bet according to what we were talking about here. Jamal Murray, no Murray assist. You can get more assists for Joker, and no Gordon, you get more rebounds. So I'm going to go with a guy here that's my favorite bet of the night, just as Terrence Mann was my favorite bet last night. Nate, I'm using similar logic here for PJ Washington. By the way, there wasn't enough juice or action on Terrence Mann last night, and if you looked at his props like 30 minutes before game time, I got plus 115 for him to score the 10 points, which I was talking about on the show at like minus 105, and I guess there just wasn't enough action on him, so I was able to get even better juice by the time the game started. But similar situation here for PJ Washington in terms of a guy just got traded that was really eating up some of his stats in Mason Plumlee, who's now on the Clippers, and now that was a similar situation for Reggie Jackson being, leaving town in LA, Terrence Mann having some more usage, and the book's not yet catching up to it. And I think that's where we're at with PJ Washington, where he stands at 15.5 points. You can get 16.5 in some books, and then you're talking about, minus 104, basically even odds. But if you want the 15.5, it's like minus 120 on MGM is the best I could find using that odds finder tool. I also love on FanDuel the 21.5 PR, the points and rebounds combined. It basically gets you even money there. His last three since Plum got traded, 20 points per game, 6 boards per game, and that's in 34.6 minutes per game. And that's right on par with what his numbers are with and without Plumlee this season. When Plumlee plays, 14.8 points, 4.5 boards, 32.8 minutes. When Plumlee does not play this season, 20 points a game, 6 boards, 34.6 minutes. Basically, his exact numbers in the last 3 since Plumlee got traded are his numbers throughout the year in the other 9 games without Plumlee. So he gets a slight jump in usage. It's not like Plumlee was taking his usage because they weren't usually on the floor at the same time. But you already know that he's playing the Spurs, dude. So I don't need to go into how bad the Spurs are. We continue to pick on them down low. Jakob Poeltl is gone. The 30-point Toronto Raptors scoring Jakob Poeltl last night, by the way. Love Jakob Poeltl. Really happy for him. He's in a good situation. But now this Spurs team is even more porous down low. Dead last in rebounds, opponent points in the paint, opponent centers are just getting points all over them. So you got to feel good about PJ Washington's ability to get boards and points tonight.
Yeah, and he has double digits in all 5 career meetings against the Spurs. It's always key to watch, how a player plays against Popovich, or how Popovich's scheme adjusts to try to take things away from them. And I don't think they're really worrying that much about PJ Washington, to be honest. So, yeah, pretty low prop. I do like adding in the rebounds here just because of the pace of play here and the variance on offense with so many young guys out there. And that's a segue to who I'm taking on the Spurs side, the rookie Malaki Branham. Who's suddenly, been thrust into like a high usage green light role. Like, sure, like get your feet wet. We are not trying to win games. In his last 7, he's scoring 17.5 points per game, along with 3.5 boards, 3 assists, 20% usage, pretty solid. It's been a little bit higher his last 3 since he struggled against Toronto. In that last 3. He's got double digits in all of them. He only had 10 points against the Hawks, but still very much had the green light. Again, 4 for 15 from the field. So I love to see that from a young player, that you're going to be allowed to hoist even if you're missing. His prop is only at 13.5 points, and you get slightly better odds if you want to tack on 4 rebounds there or a couple assists. Either one is solid against the Charlotte team that has a 120 defensive rating in their last 7. It's getting out-rebounded 7.5 per game, giving up the second most rebounds and second most assists overall in that span, and also giving up the 5th highest three-point percentage. Branham to just hit 2 threes is minus 120 at Caesars, and he's hit 8 threes in his last 3 games, so that's worth a shout here. But I think, just the points for him to get 14 against a porous defense is pretty reliable.
Yeah, welcome to the show, kid. I like the points. I would add the threes as well, like you're saying. I think that's where you can probably expect him to get some points. And Charlotte, especially over the last 7, like you said, they've been okay at times at home on defense in pretty specific situations. Have the Hornets, but I would feel pretty good about this game going up and down, up and down, up and down. And Malaki Branham, like you said, continuing to get the usage when he's in the game and the green light to just let it fly. So I'm going to finish things off here with Mr. Morant. We haven't talked about John a little bit, but I think the Grizz are going to be on a little bit of a streak. I do like the fact that they, they are one of those teams that haven't really changed much, to be honest, because I think they know they have the weapons already at hand, and that consistency is going to kind of continue to propel them. Big win against the T-Wolves a few games ago where they scored a bunch of points. Similar situation here. They're playing the Jazz, one of the worst defensive teams in the league, especially since in the last 4 games or so. And Ja, 28.5 points, I should say, minus 113 on FanDuel. If you add the assist, you can get 36.5 points and assists combined at minus 115 on DraftKings. The Jazz last 4, his last 4 versus the Jazz specifically, 31.5 points, 6.5 boards, 8 assists in about 36 minutes. I think it's gonna be a similar situation for him tonight, and the Jazz are just completely giving up all the points to point guards, 3rd most points to point guards, and I believe 6th most assists or so in the last 5. This Utah defense allowing 124.5 points a game. The 8th most free throw attempts, which we know is crucial for Ja, who's been averaging about 9 in his last 5 overall. And also the 8th highest 2-point percentage, which is where we know Ja is going to be doing the majority of his work there. His last 5 overall as well hit over this prop, 29.5 points per game, 8.5 assists per game for Ja. He's also playing at home, where he scores a couple more points per game at 28.5 versus the 26 that he gets on the road. So this Grizzlies team at home, I think you can expect them to feel really good on offense against the Jazz. And I wanted to go under because of how good the Grizzlies have been playing on defense. I kind of wanted to go under on one of these Jazz players, maybe somebody like a Jordan Clarkson, who's had some pretty bad numbers against this Grizzlies team. But I think the pace is going to be so fast and that they're going to be so up and down either way that it would scare me to take an under even on a Jazz player right now, unless you couldn't think this is going to be like a 30-point blowout, which is why I felt like no matter what, I was kind of safer taking a Ja over than anything else in this game.
I'll take under Lauri Markkanen, which you
Okay.
floated out there, and I
I
think
also quoted that.
that's actually a little more appealing to me than the Ja over, because I do worry that Memphis is going to win this game by double digits, and that Ja might not be out there down the stretch, and that the Jazz just aren't hanging on the road specifically recently.
True.
But Markkanen, going to be going up against Defensive Player of the Year leader Jaren Jackson. His prop all the way at 26.5 points or like 38.5 PRA, about even money to not have a double-double. I like any of that. I just don't think he's going to have his usual production that we've seen against soft defenses like Houston or Sacramento or whatever. This is Memphis. This is in Memphis, and I think they're going to get into his jersey here tonight and make it tough on Markkanen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've been a little bit worse without Steven Adams in there. Have the Grizz down low, but like they're still limiting teams to like the tune of like the 4th fewest points in the paint and stuff without him. So yeah, they're still like you said, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Triple J still out there. It's probably pretty good. I do like a Lauri under as well. But I think 20.5 is just so high that I don't love taking it like we're talking about. But I think there's gonna be a lot of points in this game. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along, hitting it like an 85% clip, dude, in the last like 4 nights on these player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.